This season, the San Francisco 49ers have plunged almost completely out of sight. After losing the first 5 games of the Joe Thomas era, the 49ers have now awakened enough to win their last 2. Last week in San Francisco, Tampa Bay rookie quarterback Jeb Blount was the Buccaneer Fall Guy of the Week, mainly because the Bucs' offensive line simply could not block the men of the 49er Gold Rush. The 49ers had only one big play on offense, a 35-yard touchdown run by number 24, Delvin Williams. But it was enough to send the Buccaneers to their 21st consecutive loss, 20-10. Meanwhile, in the Seattle Kingdome, the Buffalo Bills tried their luck with the NFL's other expansion team. Unfortunately for Buffalo, John Kimbrough's third-quarter touchdown came when the Bills were already behind by 46 points, and they were put there by the passing of number 10, Jim Zorn. Returning after a month on the injured list, Zorn ran for 1 touchdown and passed for 4 others, one of them to disappearing Duke Ferguson, number 89. Jim Zorn led the Seahawks to 49 unanswered points and almost 600 yards of total offense. Number 80 wide receiver Steve Largent caught 2 touchdowns, but impressive as Zorn and Largent were, on this day, commemorative game balls were awarded to the entire Seattle team. As Jim Zorn said afterwards, "It's great to be young and in Seattle when everything goes the way it did for us in that one." Early in the season, the veteran Los Angeles Rams seemed to be a team without a distinct image of themselves. And then supposedly everything cleared up in a Monday night lapper against the Minnesota Vikings. Last week in the New Orleans Superdome, the same players who beat the Vikings so easily tried to do the same to the New Orleans Saints. And for a while, it looked as though they probably would succeed. Pat Hayden and Harold Jackson had the Rams ahead 7-3 after 1 quarter. But in the second quarter, the Saints put it to the best rushing defense in the conference. Tony Galbraith's dive thrust New Orleans into the lead, which the Saints then augmented with the unlikely passing combination of punter placement holder Tom Blanchard to defensive end Eloy Scrooms. Just before halftime, Pat Hayden scrambled and again found Harold Jackson in the left corner of the end zone. And Los Angeles held the lead at the half, 20-17. But early in the third quarter, a perfectly executed blitz by safety Chuck Christ again turned the game in the Saints' direction. New Orleans led 24-20 after 3 quarters. But early in the fourth quarter, Pat Hayden again went for Harold Jackson, this time with a 58-yard bomb. The Rams subsequently scored but messed up the conversion try, thus allowing kicker Rich Zero to win the game with a bank shot off the right post. An appropriate ending for one of the season's biggest upsets. It's said the tunnel is always blackest just before you see the light. That is something to which the San Diego Chargers will attest. For through an afternoon opposite the Dolphins, things looked black indeed. But just when the Dolphins seemed ready to put the Chargers away, they were betrayed by their own hand. A penalty terminated this Nat Moore celebration, and the rest of the afternoon was spent turning the ball over to San Diego cornerback Clarence Duran, number 21. 3 times Duran redirected Miami passes, and once number 21 recovered a fumble. San Diego took it down to the end, set up at the 2-yard line with a chance to win on the very last play of the game. James Harris' effort brought the Chargers back into victory's light, slipping past Miami 13-12. For years now, the Kansas City Chiefs have been hoping to find a fast, high-stepping running back, and it now seems they have one. No, it's not her. It's number 32, rookie Tony Reed, and one glance tells you he is going to be a great one. Against Cleveland, however, Reed and the Chiefs were outmanned, for the Browns played like a team rolling towards the playoffs. And it was this incentive that kept them rolling over the Kansas City offense. With a healthy number 72 Jerry Shirk back at defensive tackle, the Browns surrendered only one late token touchdown, while Greg Pruitt's 158 yards rushing sailed Cleveland to 44 points. In the end, Cleveland's speed and power cost Kansas City head coach Paul Wiggin his job and placed the Browns in the lead of the rugged AFC Central Division. Up next for Cleveland is a divisional showdown with a rival that desperately wants to take a swipe at them. While the Cincinnati Bengals have yet to display their man-eating potential, few of their problems have come on defense. Just ask Houston. Last week, the Bengals continued their tough, intimidating assault, play that sees them helping their opposition up, only so they will sooner get the chance to knock them back down. Season-long offensive problems continued, however, as all Bengal points resulted from special team hustle. Willie Shelby's recovery of a blocked punt served as Cincinnati's only touchdown through 4 quarters, but this seemed enough, as Bum Phillips Oilers could do little against the Bengal defense. But trailing 10-0, Phillips turned to the injured Dan Pastorini, and in the 4th quarter, number 7 responded by leading Houston to a touchdown in the final minute of play. The score tied the game and sent it into overtime. Whatever momentum the Oilers might have gained by this Ronnie Coleman touchdown was silenced by Cincinnati's Kenny Anderson, who used one possession to pass the Bengals in close enough for the win. Bobby Brooks' key reception set up a Chris Barr field goal, leaving the outcome merely a formality. Cincinnati survived this one 13-10, but next week against Cleveland, things will be even more difficult. For Bum Phillips Oilers, however, it's hard to imagine things getting worse. Last week in Denver, everyone was dressed to honor the Orange Crush defense of the Broncos, which was trying to increase its lead in the AFC West. But while Mile High Stadium is home for the Broncos, it's heaven for the Raiders, who haven't lost there since 1962. And last week was to be no streak breaker, as Oakland's often streaking Cliff Branch scored first to give the Raiders a lead they'd never lose. With number 28 Clarence Davis running left just as easily as he had in Super Bowl 11, the Silver and Black Menace rolled to a 24-0 lead in the fourth quarter. The main reason for the Broncos' ineffectiveness was a relentless Oakland rush, which crashed in on quarterback Craig Morton and mashed the Big Orange offense to a pulp. Two Denver touchdowns in the last quarter made the final score of 24-14 respectable at the least. So while the Broncos lost the game, sole possession of first place, their undefeated record, and some confidence, they certainly didn't lose their shirts. Meanwhile, in Green Bay, the back of Walter Payton's shirt was all the Packers got to see. The league-leading Chicago running back tied Gale Sayers' club record as he slashed for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns, and leading his team to a 26-0 wipeout of the struggling Green Bay Packers. While Payton glides toward a rushing title, his Bears will have their problems in their quest for the NFC Central Division title. The reason for this became apparent down in Atlanta, Georgia, where the Minnesota Vikings met the Falcons, who were giving a professional performance in acting like a top-flight team. For most of the afternoon, the Vikings were facing a defense so tough and so miserly that it's given up a mere 46 points in 7 games. But unfortunately for the Falcons, their defense has carried the burden through the first half of the season because the offense has managed to score only a meager 70 points, the 26th lowest total in the NFL. Last week, quarterback Scott Hunter doled out the usual 6-point ration to tight end Greg McCrary, number 88. The 49-yard play was a work of art and definitely one of a kind for Atlanta last week. Usually it would be enough for the overworked Falcon defense, but Fran Tarkenton wanted to look good for the home folks, and he did on this 54-yard bomb to Sammy White, which knotted the score at 7 in the first half. Then it wasn't until the fourth quarter that the Purple Gang was able to get close again on this 51-yard burst by the incomparable Chuck Foreman. It was an uncharacteristic slip for Atlanta's defense, and Fran made the most of it. The winning pass went to tight end Bob Tucker, recently acquired from the Giants for a 6th-round draft pick. Said Francis of Bob, "We were together in New York, and he knows how to get open. I told him the play was the old Power 27 Y over we had with the Giants. I knew he'd be there." And after all these years, Fran Tarkenton can still get pretty excited over a hard-fought victory, especially when it keeps the Minnesota division lead at 2 full games. Baltimore quarterback Burt Jones was acting downright coldish before a very important game with the Steelers, a team that rudely crushed his Super Bowl dreams last December in the playoffs. What a difference a year makes. On this Sunday, the Colts did not sit back on their heels and wait for something good to happen. They made it happen. Off play action, Jones isolated running back Roosevelt Leaks on linebacker Lauren Taves, number 51. And the result was a lead the Colts never relinquished. The once unyielding steel curtain defense was pointedly papier-mâché against Baltimore, and the concussive thud of hard hits was replaced by some high-pitched whining. Baltimore running backs ghosted into the dead spots of the Steelers' zone, where Burt Jones found them for easy touchdowns. The Colts have always hoped to lessen the burden on overworked Lydell Mitchell, number 26, and now they may have that luxury with the emergence of Ron Lee, number 34, as another hard-nosed touchdown maker. Baltimore's swarming defense stifled the Pittsburgh attack for 3 quarters. And when the game was in the bag, they allowed 2 meaningless touchdowns by Franco Harris that made the final score Colts 31, Steelers 21. While the Colts star is ascending in the AFC East, Redskin hopes are fading in the NFC East. Last Sunday, Washington resurrected number 7, Joe Theismann, to put a little gusto into their heretofore lackluster offense. With a little help from 2 cowskins, number 35, Calvin Hill, and number 84, tight end Gene Fugit, Theismann passed Washington into an early lead against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Redskins built a cushion, then hung on for dear life as the Eagles roared back on Ron Jaworski's right arm. However, Jaworski's 48-yard touchdown to skyscraper-tall Harold Carmichael was not enough to produce a victory, as the Eagles lost by 6, 23-17. In Foxborough, there were many bombs, and some landed squarely on the Jets' Richard Todd. Others zeroed in on the correct targets. As for the second straight Sunday, Todd showed evidence that he is clearly a quarterback to be reckoned with. The Patriots under Steve Grogan are beginning to look awesome. For good hands, Grogan has number 84, Darryl Stingley. For sheer, flat-out, Olympic-caliber, stopwatch-bursting, breathtaking speed, he has rookie flyer Stanley Morgan, number 84, from Tennessee. All in all, this good mix produced victory in easy measure as New England defeated the Jets 24-13. At Texas Stadium, there were hairy beasts and hobgoblins aplenty. But the scariest sight of all was a defense named Doomsday that rose out of the ground and strangled the growl of the Detroit Lions. As usual, the orneriest of the Cowboys was number 79, defensive end Harvey Martin, possibly the best pass rusher in all the NFL. On offense, the Cowboys were loaded with tricks and treats, including a screen pass from Roger Staubach to Scott Laidlaw, number 35, that circumnavigated the playing field. The undefeated Cowboys scored early, often, and about every way imaginable. The last touchdown resulted from a 20-yard gallop by rookie Larry Brinson, number 36, as Dallas crushed Detroit 37-0.